Welcome. Today we're going to do a little overview of comparison contrast writing. So as we look at comparison contrast writing, one thing we look at is what is our purpose? Why do we write comparison contrast writing? So with this style, which actually, by the way, is a type of expository writing because it's explaining, but with this style, we're either showing how two or more things are similar, so how they are kind of the same to each other, or we're showing how they're different. What kind of differences do they have? Those are the most two common ways of using comparison contrast writing. Every once in a while you'll see something where a person attempts to do both, comparison and contrast. That's less common than to do comparison or contrast. Typically, you're going to focus in on one or the other, not both. So your reason for this is to show similarities or differences, and your tone is going to be informative. You're always getting the information across to your reader in an informative, instructive type of manner. Your reader is there. Your reader shows up to this particular piece of writing to learn about this topic, to learn about these similarities or these differences and why they're important. Let's take a look at some examples so that we can get an idea of where is it that we see comparison contrast writing taking place. Where do we find it? Okay, anytime that you see consumer recommendations on products, that is absolutely comparison contrast writing. For example, there are entire magazines that are just dedicated to reviewing different products. So there's one magazine that's just dedicated to reviewing the new cars that come out every year. And in that magazine you're going to find articles that are looking at all the different cars in a particular group. And what about them is similar? What about them is different? Sometimes they'll have different kinds of graphs and charts set up so that you can see the mathematical formulas as well. That is definitely comparison contrast writing. Any kind of articles that are on new car models or new models of anything, they're going to be reviewing different kinds of models that are coming out. Let's say that you've got an article that's looking at the 3 best sports cars of the year. So that article is going to be either comparing those 3 sports cars or contrasting them. Might be interesting to have an article contrasting them, showing how they're different, showing in which ways that those 3 different cars are better than each other. Blogs or articles about political candidates, those are typically contrast because they're trying to show differences. They're trying to show how each candidate stands out from the others. Travel books that are covering best destinations oftentimes are comparison. Okay, so you may find a book or an article that's about the 10 best places to take your kids camping. Okay, that's a comparison article. It's showing the 10 places that are most similar, great places to go camping with kids. Okay, they're showing similarities. Guidebooks on best college programs, it's another example of comparison and contrast writing. Any article that's about the top 5 or the top 10 or the top 100 or something like that. So either showing comparison, how things are similar to each other, such as the 100 best towns in America to live in. Comparison, showing similarity, what makes them the best. Anytime that a movie is remade from an older version of a movie, there are reviews that come out doing comparison and contrast pieces, typically contrast pieces on those, because they want to show how the new movie is different from the original. Anytime you run across health books that are about specific diets, such as gluten-free, right? You're going to see comparison and contrast, typically more contrast there, because they're showing how things are different. And then, of course, for your educational situations, if you're in a classroom, anytime you're doing an essay, a research paper, or another piece of writing that's either comparison or a contrast, it's either showing similarities or showing differences between 2 or more things, that again is comparison contrast writing. Okay, so our purposes here for why we write comparison and contrast, what our reader is looking for out of comparison contrast writing, and what we can do with it once we've got it done. I hope this information is helpful to you, and good luck on your writing.